Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today's video is a special video I'm really excited about. It is the birthday of my channel. I have had my YouTube channel for 1 year and I've been working on the house for about that long, so I figured it was a good time to do a recap of all of the work that I've done on the house so far in the past year. So come along with me as we review and recap everything, all the projects, everything that went wrong, everything that I loved, and go back and look at this past year. Okay, let's start our house tour on the exterior. This is probably the biggest change of all, and I'll show you how we got from what it used to look like to this. So I know I'm technically on the interior here, but this affects the exterior, so I wanted to show you guys. This is me cutting a hole in the front door because I wanted to add a window to it. So that's what I did right here, just added this glass, and it brought us to this point right here, which is a true before of the house exterior. So the first thing that I did was just give the house a good pressure washing. It had a lot of like algae and different stuff growing on it, and I knew that the lime wash was not going to stick to that. So I started off with the lime wash. It was definitely a learning curve, but I am so happy that I did it. It was so much work, but it made the biggest difference on the exterior of this home. With the lime wash finally done, it was time to paint all of the siding on the front and the sides of the house, which required me to go super high on this ladder, which was scary, but I did it. And then after that was done, all of the siding and all of the trim on the front and the sides, it was time to give the garage door a makeover. Now, it wasn't yellow in the before pictures, but I'm trying out a technique, or I did try out a technique that was like a faux wood, and I didn't end up liking it. So I went with this Lauriston Stone color, and I really like this color and how it pops with the white brick, and then adding some hardware to the garage door, and it was done. And this is the technique I was talking about with the faux wood. I painted this column, which is not wood, it is hardy board siding, but I painted it yellow and then went over with a stain and made it look like wood, and I have a video going into detail about it. And the front door got a coat of my favorite black paint, which is Sherwin Williams iron ore, and added the hardware back and a few other things to the front porch, like this accent ceiling I was calling it, and I ended up painting that the Lauriston Stone as well to kind of coordinate with the front door. And I also added this light fixture in the front, and one of the favorite things on the exterior is these house numbers. I think they look super nice on this post, and bonus, Amazon can now find my house so much easier. But yeah, here's me adding this Lauriston Stone color, and that completed the front porch makeover. Okay, you guys ready to go inside? One of the biggest things that we did in the house is painting all of the walls a soft creamy white, and then replacing all of the floors. And that alone, even if we did nothing else, would have made a huge difference. Now, I did do tons else, but that's where we started. Actually, I did something in the living room first, but I'll show you that in a minute. Then we painted and did the floors, but here's how we did that. So I did all of the painting in the main areas before we did the floors. That way I didn't have to worry about paint dripping onto the new floors or anything. Then my parents came into town, and my dad helped Brandon and I lay the floors all throughout the main areas, and those two things alone made the biggest difference in the house. Also, just to give you guys a heads up, things were not done necessarily in this order. So if in the background you see that something else was done in another room, that's kind of how it went with renovation. I couldn't do one thing until I did something in another room. Anyway, so I'm just taking you room by room and kind of starting over from the beginning in each room. Let's talk about this entryway. It did not always look like this. I'll show you where we started from and how we got here. See what I mean about things being a little out of order? So this was before we did the floors, and thank goodness this was the only tile we had on the main floor because it was awful to bust out. And then the new flooring went in, and then also you saw this earlier, me putting in this window here in the door, and the back of the door also got a coat of iron ore by Sherwin Williams. And then I wanted to add this header to the top of the door just to kind of beef it up a little bit, just make it a little bit more chunky, and also painted that iron ore. And then I added this light fixture right here, changed it out, and then I went in with this wall molding. And I had never done this before. I'm using PVC trim, but I really loved how it came out, and it really elevated the entryway of the house. So right across from this entryway to the right, when you first walk in the door, is my kids area, the piano room. And just like everything else, this used to look very different. I'll show you where that started. This is probably one of my favorite rooms that I've made over in this house as far as design goes, because I just really like the colors that I used in here. I like the mixed wood tones. And then I got this dresser and I added this kind of fluted detail to the side and gave it a coat of paint and some new hardware. And then we brought that inside and mounted the TV above it, and this room was done. So not too many changes in here. It's functioning great. Switched out a pillow or two, which I always do. So yeah, not too bad. Let's keep going. I'm gonna pause right here to show you that nothing has been done to these stairs, but that will be coming sometime in the future. When I walked into this house, I knew exactly what I wanted to do to the living room, and it actually came out exactly like what I had in my head, which doesn't always work out that way, but here's how I did it. Okay, this is the very first thing that I did to the house. I knew I wanted to move this closet door. This is a closet under the stairs because I wanted to put in shelves, and I moved that door into the piano room so we can still use that closet. And then I just added these Billy bookshelves, and I built this frame in between them because I wanted a fireplace and a mantle. And I added this electric fireplace that I love, that I actually ended up using way more than I thought I would. And then I wanted to a little bit more modern, and so I went for a vertical shiplap versus horizontal. And then I just wanted to trim out the top of these pieces right here to make them look more custom, more built in. And then this is just one of my favorite parts. I had to include this clip because I love watching it. And then I built the mantle and added that. And that kind of concluded that whole wall. And it stayed like that for a while until we did the floors and painted. And then I spray painted these windows black, which I love. It adds such detail to the room, and I added electrical tape for the grids and added some curtains and some decor, and this is how we ended up. Not too many changes in here. I added these ottomans, maybe some different decorations, but this room will be getting a refresh very soon, so stay tuned for that. Let's talk about this kitchen. This room is probably the most work interior that I did to the home. It looked nothing like this, but it has made the biggest difference, not only in how it looks, but how our house functions, how we move in the space. And I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so obviously this is before I painted and before I did the floors, but you'll see why I couldn't do the floors yet, because I completely changed the shape of this island. I didn't like that it was 2 tiers. The top part just caught all of our junk and you couldn't really eat at it. So I took it apart and I rebuilt this island completely to the shape that I wanted it to be, that I thought would work a lot better for our family, so you could sit at it and eat, and it would just make more sense moving around in the kitchen. But because I changed the shape of the island, I had to have new countertops. So I decided to go ahead and just build those myself out of MDF. And I primed those, and then I'm gonna go in with epoxy, which was my first time ever doing this, but it was really fun to learn, and I'm probably gonna use it in other places in the house, and I'm really happy with how the countertops came out. So you can see now that everything's painted and the new flooring is installed, and I am just gonna trim out this island. I'm just adding some different trim pieces to make it look more decorative. And then I built this surround for the refrigerator with these shelves to kind of make it look more built in. And now I'm playing rearranging cabinets. And so I ended up taking one whole cabinet down and shifting this big one over because I wanted to add this hutch right here, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the kitchen. And I kind of framed that in, added a top piece so it would look more custom to the kitchen. And then I did this faux vent hood and kind of drywalled that and tried to make it look like plaster. And it was finally time to paint the cabinets. Now this took me a couple tries because I didn't love the color on the first try. We got there in the end, and I love using this iron ore on the hutch to kind of make it stand out. And yeah, the cabinets were painted, added some hardware, and the kitchen stayed like this for a while until I decided that I wanted to enclose the top of the cabinets because I just didn't like all of that open space. So I just took some boards and closed it in and added the molding back up. And I really like how this turned out in the kitchen. I think it made it look more finished. And then I decided that I was going to add some backsplash, which I knew I wanted that all along, but I had a hard time making my mind up on what I liked. It was my first time doing it, and I really think it was fun. It was fun to learn, and this is how the kitchen turned out for now. So the kitchen is also getting a refresh very soon. I don't want to give everything away, but that light has to go. So yeah, what we've done since any kitchen videos is swap out the dishwasher. We still have to swap out the oven right there, but I have a few other changes coming that I want to add to this kitchen. All right, this is what this dining room looked like whenever we moved in. And just like every other room, I started off by priming and painting the walls. And we pulled up this flooring, thank goodness it wasn't tile, and went in with the new flooring and removed this old light fixture. It was not putting off much light at all, and replaced it with this new light fixture that has 6 lights to really brighten up the space. And I spray painted the windows black like the living room. And then I used iron ore for these back doors. I used these bender boards to create an accent wall that would add some visual interest, but I wanted it to be subtle and just added some minimal decor because we walk right here all the time, so I didn't want anything sticking out too far. And then I wanted to frame out these windows, but I didn't have much space, so I just went with a simple frame around the window, and the dining room was done. So this dining room has not changed much since the makeover. I love the light that we did and the plant, and I don't think there's much I would change about this makeover. I'm really happy with how it came out. This is an area that hasn't been done yet. This is the pantry, and that also is going to get a makeover sometime soon, so be on the lookout for that. This is how the half bath started. I actually made it worse because I had to cut away some drywall because we had a leak. So I repaired that drywall and then, of course, primed and painted the whole room. And then I removed the toilet because I needed to put down some new flooring. But first I had to remove that old linoleum flooring, which thankfully was so much easier than removing tile. But put down this new flooring and swapped out the pedestal sink for this vanity because I wanted some storage underneath for towels and things for the pool. And then went in with a new light fixture to add some more lighting in here and framed out this window to kind of highlight that. And one of my favorite things that I did was this accent wall. I had never done anything like this before, but it was super fun and very inexpensive. So go watch the video if you want to see how that's done. But yeah, I added some decor and painted the vanity in a fun green color, added some hardware, and this bathroom was done. I loved this little half bath makeover. It's the only bathroom I've done so far in the house because the other bathrooms are upstairs. They're also getting a makeover. So I really like how this one came out. I don't think I would do anything different in here. I might add a little bit of storage in the corner or something, but other than that, I'm 100% happy with what I did in here. This dining room is another one of the most dramatic makeovers that I've done. It looked nothing like this before and functioned nothing like this before, and I'll show you how I did it. I knew I wanted a lot of storage in this room, so I found these cabinets on Facebook Marketplace, so I grabbed those. And I also had these leftover cabinets that were in the garage that came with the house when we bought it. So I added those for some storage above the washer and dryer and just kind of enclosed the top of that to make it look more built in. And for this area right here, I knew I wanted to do some hooks for backpacks and coats and things. So I put some paneling behind that and built a little bench so we could sit down and put on our shoes and also store our shoes underneath that. And I'm actually using a color that I wouldn't normally use that is kind of out of my comfort zone, but I really love how it came out. And this blue is just really fun with the gold accents that I added. And this why do I keep calling it a dining room? And this laundry room definitely functions a lot better for us now as a laundry room slash mudroom. So in here, I don't think I would do anything differently, except I think I would add, or probably will add something in here. So this works well for the shoes, but there are not enough hooks for all of us because this is all my husband's jackets and hats, and my kids put their backpacks on these. So I'm thinking about adding hooks all along this wall, so we will just have plenty of hooks for all of our stuff. Okay, this backyard area almost killed me, but this is how it started off. The first thing that I did was go in and paint the siding. I decided that I didn't want to do white, I wanted to do a color, so I used the Lauriston Stone color that from the garage and the front porch to kind of make the entire exterior cohesive. So I got all of the siding painted and all of the trim painted back here. But what I didn't show in these clips, at least, it's in the backyard makeover videos, but what I didn't show was how much work it took to get to that point. The house was not in great shape as far as like the trim and everything. A lot of it was rotten and needed to be repaired. So it took me a while before I could even get to the point of painting. But then I went in with iron ore again because I love it so much for the back door here, and repaired these posts and also painted this ceiling of the porch right here. I might end up doing some kind of accent on the ceiling eventually, but for now that will work. And I made over my swing and kind of dressed up this back porch area, and this is how that turned out. And then I had to turn my attention to this deck area. This was probably the most frustrating part of the entire backyard. I had to trim a lot of the railing down because it just seemed unnecessary to have that much railing. The deck was not that high, but it needed a lot of repair. It had a lot of rotten parts, and then I repaired all of the railing, switched it around, and then I went in with this deck makeover. It's called Super Deck paint, and it made the biggest difference as far as like filling in cracks and just making the deck look new and not so old. And I added some what is this stuff? Skirting. Yeah, I added some skirting to the bottom of the deck to keep animals out and just to make it look finished, and painted that the same color as the deck. And that's everything that's been done to the house in the past year. It's been a lot of work to get it to this point, but it's so much fun to see it's looking like what I pictured in my head when I toured the house. So let me know in the comments which project is your favorite that I've done, which room, which specific project. And thanks so much for being here, guys. Thanks for being here or sticking with me for a year if you've been here since the beginning. There are many, many, many more projects to come. This is only the main floor. So make sure that you're subscribed because you don't want to miss any of those videos coming up. Thanks, guys. Bye.